Banff Show.
Hey, welcome to the Show Banff Show. My name is Sage, or All the Rage Sage, and here on the Show Banff Show, we celebrate mental health, what people are up to, and startup culture. And guess what? Trish Tutton, you've been nominated. Am I pronouncing your name right?
Tutton.
Oh my gosh, this whole time. You should have corrected me. Amazing. I'm going to allow you to introduce yourself and tell the audience what you do. And congratulations on being nominated again.
Awesome. Thanks for having me, Sage. Yeah, my name is Trish Tutton. I am a speaker and a mindfulness teacher. I'm based in Banff, Alberta. And I've been teaching mindfulness for about a decade now, practicing for way more than that. I teach public classes, yoga and meditation classes, and then I really specialize in teaching mindfulness in kind of a corporate culture or a workplace culture. Years ago, before I started teaching in this context, I was working in a very traditional kind of office job. And I was just noticing that everybody was super stressed out and having, a really difficult time managing the stresses, not just of their work, but also just of everyday life, because let's face it, stress in life is totally unavoidable. So, we might as well find a way to manage it. And at the same time as I was, working and seeing all of my colleagues really struggling, I was noticing that for me to manage my stress, really my mindfulness practices were at the top of the list of things that I would default to help me out. And so I thought, it's great. And there are people coming to meditation classes and yoga classes to learn this stuff. But then there's a whole host of other people, who maybe don't feel like they want to go to a yoga studio, don't feel like they want to take off their socks and shoes or wear stretchy pants. And I thought, man, they're really missing out on these teachings. So I started developing content for workplaces. Workplace wellness at that time was starting to grow. And I started to speak at conferences, actually right here in Banff. We are a host of, we're a tourist destination. So many conferences come here. And so I thought I'll develop some conference content. And literally my first speaking engagement I ever did, I had someone come up to me and say, okay, this is great. And I want you to come into my office and teach my people how to do this. And so it's been over the last kind of 5 years that I've been doing more of the workplace speaking pieces. I've been teaching in other contexts for 10, but yeah, it's just kind of snowballed. And I think folks, we live in a stressful, chaotic world. There's no easier way to put it than that. And everybody, wants to live a life of well-being and of happiness and of fulfillment, yet it can be difficult when you're constantly facing the stresses of life and of work. So, so I get to teach people literally every day how to implement these really actually simple practices into their life that actually creates tangible change for them to live and work a happier life and a more fulfilled life and a more peaceful life. So yeah, that's what I do.
That's seriously incredible. And just listening to you, I'm feeling so inspired. And I love how I'm at the desk today. This is perfect. If I was stressed out at work at my desk, what kind of advice would you give me? Sitting, working away.
So one thing I would point to is just, so what you're doing in the moment is one thing, right? Let's say the specific project you're working on, the specific task you're working on is one thing. But then there's what's going on up in your mind. And for most of us, a lot of the stress that we carry is actually up here. It's not about what's currently happening. Even, your viewers who are watching me, if they're feeling stressed right now, I would ask them, what's causing that stress? Is it literally something that's in this moment that they can point to? Or is it something stressful that happened to them last week that they are rerunning in their head? Or is it something stressful that hasn't even happened yet, but they're worried might happen later today or, next week or 7 years from now that they're predicting and worrying about in their head? So literally, the simplest way of describing mindfulness is and it's so cliche now because it's everywhere, but it's a lot harder than it actually sounds. Sounds simple.
It's so true.
In the present moment, but actually being in the present moment is like a lifetime practice. Like it's a lifelong practice. It's not something that you can just achieve and be amazing at right away, because as humans, our brains are incredible. And frankly, it's amazing that we can reflect on the past and think about the future. Those are very important skills. And our brain can like just run away with this stuff. And we can actually, we can live a life where we never are actually in the moment, which is the only place our life exists, because we're busy rerunning the past and trying to predict the future. So the simple thing, to get back to your question, that I would say is just in your workday, start to notice how often your mind is somewhere else, how often your mind is worried about the future and reliving the past. And then there are some simple techniques we can use to keep coming back to this moment. Again, the only moment your life literally exists is this moment.
Like right now.
Yeah.
Like that is so cool. And I love that like mindfulness of it, like retraining like your brain set too, like your mindset, like where you're being like, and like people, like I know I struggle with this. I'm always thinking the future and the past, like, and I'm always also trying to be in this moment. Like, what kind of techniques do you give your clients, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah, totally. I mean, there are many. And the simplest one that frankly, probably a lot of your viewers have heard is what's called mindfulness of breath. So if even right now, again, your viewers were to just notice, just see if you can follow one round of your breathing. Just watch the breath as it comes in through your nose, and then watch it as it comes out of your nose. And you're not even taking a deep breath. I'm not even asking them to do that. I'm literally asking them to not change their breath, but just notice that they're breathing. And when you give your mind that task, it's kind of like, I don't know if anybody, I don't have kids myself, but I have 2 nieces. And if you don't, they're young. And if you don't give them a task, they'll run wild, right? This is what kids do. They're distracted. They're all over the place. Yeah. But if you give them a task, if you say, we're going to sit down, we're going to color this picture. They're right there and they're focused on that one thing. Our minds are kind of the same. It's like a little kid in a candy store. It's just worst case scenario. What's going to happen tomorrow? What happened yesterday? All these things.
Good. This looks good. I want this too. You want, let's like work on that for a bit.
Totally. And so giving your mind the task, even for like 30 seconds or a minute, to focus on your breath, that immediately helps to tame all those wild thoughts that go everywhere. And what it's actually doing now, so the interesting thing is, mindfulness is thousands of years old. And now in the last kind of 40 to 50 years, we have all this research, all this data surfacing about how it really works. And one thing that they say is every time you notice your mind, like time travel, essentially, go into the past, go into the future, and you bring your attention back to your breath, which your breath is only here in this moment. It's literally the same as when you do like a bicep curl. So every time somebody goes to the gym and does a bicep curl, that muscle is getting stronger. So every time you notice your mind wander and you come back to even 1 breath or 3 breaths or 10, you're strengthening that ability for your mind to be in the present moment, which is really the skill of mindfulness.
That is really, really fascinating. And I can already tell, just like listening to you and talking to you, like you have so much knowledge on this and you put your heart and soul into this. Like you have passion behind you. And if people want to get in contact with you to like figure out like how to like be in the moment, how to like make their work spot better, where can they contact you?
Yeah, for sure. So if they're watching this on Instagram, I'm sure I'll probably be tagged in the post, but I'm at Trish Yeah, I'm at Trish_Tutton on Instagram. You can catch me on Facebook. I'm at Trish Tutton Mindfulness. I have a website. It's all pretty much the same, TrishTutton.com. And yeah, people can check me out there. I do work with individuals every month. I do a public, totally open to anybody. It's virtual right now, but I call it a master class, and it's essentially a meditation class, but we focus on one specific kind of topic or theme. I've done, one on mental health, and I'm just trying to think of the one I did last time. Can't remember, but we focus on a different topic, and we kind of meet in community, right? So then you have people with you learning the same thing. You have an actual real live human teacher, which in an age of like going on all the apps,
COVID, everything's online right now. So,
and it's amazing. And here's the thing, there are so many mindfulness apps now, and so many, you just like search it on YouTube, you'll come up with thousands of hits. But I think, for me, at least, when I finally made it an actual habit in my life was only when I started working with like a human teacher, not just like an app. And for some people, apps are amazing, and that's wonderful. And if that works for you, awesome. And if you feel like you need an actual human to like ask questions to, someone who's been on this path maybe a little longer than you, who could answer those questions about like, oh, why is this so hard? Or why does my mind do this? Or if you're looking,
I'm struggling with this, like what's going on?
Exactly. So, apps don't always help you with that. So, so monthly I run a master class. Folks can find that on my website. It's an evening kind of class where I do a bit of a talk. There's opportunity for Q&A, and then I guide a meditation as well.
I'll get you to send me a link to that. So everyone, there's going to be a link down below. Whether you're watching it on YouTube, Instagram, or Facebook, there's going to be a link down below. Or you might have to go to her site if it's Instagram, just because they don't like her linking things.
Totally.
And with this, like your projects and stuff, do you get overwhelmed or stressed sometimes? And how do you deal with that?
No, never. No, of course I do.
Yes, of course.
Literally, it's so funny because people, even like my husband said to me the other day, some of his coworkers follow me on Instagram. They see what I'm up to, and they're like, so like, is Trish just like always happy and never upset or never stressed? I'm like, no, I'm human. And actually, if a teacher tells you that, you should follow them because they're never stressed out, don't believe them. Like, they're obviously not living a human life. So yes, 100%, I have moments where I feel stress. And I think, the practice, I always come back to, I meditate around kind of 5 times a week. I don't do it every single day, but most days. And then I just work on those kind of everyday moments of being present. And I think one of the things that actually helps me with my stress the most, and this is, again, it's so easy to say like mindfulness is just about being present, but there's so much more to it. And one of the teachings that I lean into is something called impermanence in mindfulness. And all that means is that,
what is that?
Yeah, it means everything changes. So when you're in a good moment of your life, when like something, you're riding a high of a wave and everything is amazing, you can soak that up and know that this is going to change. Things aren't always going to be this good. So I'm going to enjoy it while it's here. And likewise, when that wave is crashing on you in life, when you are in a moment, a low, a loss, the most stressful moment of your life, same thing goes there. Everything changes. That moment is not going to last forever. So be present with it, get through it the best you can, and it will end. It will have an end to it. So that's one of the teachings I think that helps me most when I'm in one of those moments.
That is so nice to hear. And like, I love how you're being open about that. And it's so true. Like, not like everyone can put on a smile, but like, it doesn't last forever. Like, you just got to keep going. And I love your honesty for that. Do you have any last things you want to tell the audience before we have to go here?
Gosh, I mean, yeah, just reach out if you want to learn more. Again, I think it's the biggest thing is like, it's so easy to just go like, I know what mindfulness is. It's about, being present. Yeah. The other thing I guess I would say is that what's really important in a time in the world where Many people are overwhelmed and stressed.
Definitely.
Everybody basically knows about mindfulness. Like everybody is probably saying like, oh, I should practice that, or I know people who need that in their lives. It's really important that we remember that it's not just a word and it's not just a catchphrase of be present. It's an actual practice. So I like to compare it to like if you love soccer, but you've never once practiced it in your life, you won't fully understand it. Or like if you know everything about playing the guitar, you know all the theory, you know all the chords, you know all the elements of a guitar, but you've never played it, you're missing something really crucial. So if you know about mindfulness, if you even know what it is to a degree to say it's about being in the moment, but if you've never practiced it, you're really missing out on the experience. So yeah, I think that's just what I would say, that it's way more than just a word and just a catchphrase. It really is something that we can practice and that we can get better at.
Yes, and just jump in there and try it. Like you're right, you have to actually like get in there and like go for it if you're gonna go. Like that is amazing advice right there.
And like the instrument thing, I mean, nobody's going to pick up a guitar and think that they're going to play, Stairway to Heaven right away. It's going to.
What if you can't just pick up something and play it? Like
they're going to play some awkward notes. They're going to hit some weird pitchy moments. And the same thing goes with mindfulness. Like the first time you try a meditation, it's probably going to be hard, but that doesn't mean that you can't learn with time.
100%. And I agree with what you're saying. Like this is so fascinating. And now I'm just like, ooh, like it's making me reconsider everything I'm doing in my life. It's just like, ooh. Like
You're curious.
Exactly. I can't thank you enough for coming on the show today and dedicating your time. Like we are so lucky to have you.
It's been my pleasure. I appreciate you having me.
Awesome. Thanks for everyone who's watching. Bye.
Show Banff Show.
Show Banff Show.
Show Banff Show.
Show Banff Show.
Expanding our community.